you doing, guys? My name is Recommend, and today we're going to be looking at the RetroBlox. It's a new console that's been announced. Technically it's not out yet, it probably won't be out for a while. In April they're supposed to be doing a Kickstarter, and as you see on the screen here, if you go to RetroBlox.com, they have a sort of a semi-picture of it to begin with. You see two NES controller slots. I do like their logo, it's very creative. Kind of looks like a PlayStation controller pad, the directional pad on the PS1, PS2, I guess PS3 and PS4, but looks very nice. They did a good job on the logo. If you take a look here, they call it the world's first modular HD retro game console. Let's click on let's learn more. So past meets future with RetroBlox. The one console future is just around the corner thanks to element modules which are compatible with real retro game cartridges for an unprecedented number of systems like the NES and Genesis. It also includes an optical disc drive compatible with CD games, with real CD games, for systems like PSX and Sega CD. With online connectivity that rivals current gen consoles and an elegant user interface that modernizes the classic gaming experience in 1080p HD, the ultimate living room worthy retro console has finally arrived. Well, hasn't finally arrived, right? If you look at it, I mean, obviously it's quite a bit away if they're going to be doing a Kickstarter for it. So, I should say coming soon or something. But let's keep on going. So you go on next, it's Elemental. RetroBlox element modules provide you with an infinitely expandable library of classic game consoles in one tidy package that's easy on the eyes. Just insert a module, plug in a game, add it to your personal collection, or play it right off the cartridge or CD using patented hybrid emulation technology. It's kind of iffy right there. Sounds a little suspect. Hybrid emulation technology? Keep an eye on our news section for full specs, announcements, and updates. So basically what they're saying is this is not an FPGA system, meaning that it's not hardware emulation. And they're trying to say it's not really software emulation, which is known to be laggy or laggier than hardware emulation depending on the setup. They're saying something in between, some kind of a mix-up thing. For example, this system sounds a lot like the Retron 5 or the Retro Freak, which basically you take your cartridge, you pop it into the system, it rips the ROM, and then it plays off the ROM while you have the cartridge inserted. On the Retron 5, the Retro Freak actually rips the ROM and then it's there forever, or as long as you want to keep it for. This is saying it's more like the Retron 5, but somehow it's different after it rips the ROM. So we'll have to see. They'll have to announce more details on that, but I find it a little suspect, at least at the moment. Let's see if they can make a convincing case for it. There, I guess it's in front of the console. So the CD is actually already included, along with, I guess, the back piece, which is the chipset. The front piece here, or it's the exchangeable module. So this is the NES one. I know I've read that going to do TurboGrafx. Sega for the Sega, so you can do the Sega CD and the PlayStation. So it's not illusion. RetroBlox also includes an optical disc drive built into the base unit. It's compatible with all the best disc-based video game systems or consoles like the PSX. So why not invite some friends over to party like it's 1999? Now, to go back into this particular statement here. Okay, I can see them getting away with the modules for most of the older consoles. For example, Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and TurboGrafx. But the PSX may be tough. First, because if you have anything up to a PS3, PS1, PS2, PS3, or even just PS2, or especially a PS3, let's put it that way. If you have a PS3, you already have PS1 emulation already built into it. So it kind of defeats the purpose. Most people have a PS3, or a lot of people have a PS3, but they're dirt cheap now. You have automatic PSX emulation built into it. PS2 you probably don't have, depends on what model you have. All PS3s have PS1 built into it. You can pop in the CD and play PS1 games, upscaled and everything. So I'm not sure what their marketing angle is with PSX, because another problem with this is Sony tends to be very protective of their IPs. I don't know how many of you guys were around when Bleem was around. Bleem was a company that was around the same time as the Dreamcast was out. So between the Dreamcast and the PS1, PS2. So what Bleem actually wanted to do was create Bleemcast. So basically it was an emulator that ran on your Dreamcast. You popped the CD in for Bleem. It let you play PlayStation 1 games on your Sega Dreamcast emulated with better graphics. Sony quickly killed that. Now, they lost the case from what I remember. They took the Bleem company to court. They lost the case. But since it was a young company, they went out of business because obviously they didn't have the money to fight a giant corporation like Sony, especially at that time. So I can see them easily doing the same thing to these guys. So the PSX module may not be the best of ideas for practical purposes, like I said, because you can get PS1 emulation on the PS3, and also because Sony is very protective of their IP. Let's move on. Let's click on Learn More. New way to play. RetroBlox is the best way to experience a world of retro games in your living room. Forget scrolling through lists of text to find games. Our proprietary interface brings the art and personality of every game to the front and center in glorious HD. So here's a picture of it. Looks, I guess, like a like pretty modern, I guess, storefront interface. Doesn't look too different than what I used to see on the Ouya. So another Kickstarter console. So the Ouya, the PS3, or the Xbox 360, Xbox One, PlayStation 4 doesn't look too different than that. But it looks closer, I would say, to the Ouya, or even if you look at this interface, if you have a Nexus, a Nexus player or an Android TV, it looks very, very similar to that. If you go to like the Google Play Store and an Android TV device, it looks very similar to this. Now let's take a look here. They have Secret of Evermore, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Sonic CD, Tekken 3. So you have right away in this picture, you see Konami, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Secret of Evermore, which is Squaresoft Enix, whatever they call themselves these days, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Capcom, Sonic CD, Sega, Tekken 3, Namco, Need for Speed, EA, Super Air Zonk, which is Konami again, or it was Hudson Soft back then, but they got acquired by Konami, Golden Axe, Sega, and Soldier Blade. Not sure who. That's TurboGrafx 16, maybe Hudson Soft. I don't remember who it was. But basically, these games have to be ripped because there's no way that they had the licenses for all these consoles, all these games and IPs right now. At least not in the digital storefront. So looking at this, you have to assume these are games that they already ripped on their own. So don't be fooled by this. Wait to see what happens in their Kickstarter, and you may want to wait it out, because I don't see this happening in the digital store anytime soon, at least not this easily. We shall see. Gate of Thunder. Okay, so you have your standard so record video, screenshot, Twitch, connect and share. Elevate your social game with RetroBlox. Share screenshots and videos to Facebook and Twitter. Connect with friends. Show off your collection and even stream your favorite games on Twitch. This here is a good addition to emulation. You make a simple emulation box that doesn't have lag or very minimal lag. It's easy to connect, and it has modern features like this. This actually sounds good. I would like this. It's a good idea. Another thing they can do, if they end up watching this video, or somebody wants to suggest it to them, they can go to Retro Achievements. Retro Achievements is a site that basically just creates achievements for older games. It usually works with RetroArch. If you go under their cores, I believe it's one of the experimental features. I believe it's an experimental feature. At least the last time I played with it was. But basically, you play something like, say, Streets of Rage, and you beat the first boss and you get an achievement for it, and it pops up on their site. So that would be a nice addition as well if this is what they're going for. They're going to modernize the older consoles. Of course, a short picture of Alter Beast here. Interesting. Mega Drive Japan. It's in English. Okay. I'm not sure if that's a mistake or they're just translating it for everybody else, but interesting. Here it shows Xenogears, Biohazard 2. Here's obviously a Mega Drive module. Now that's something else I'm wondering about. I wonder if the Mega Drive module will also play Genesis games, like for example, like the Retron 5, which the one slot plays Mega Drive and Genesis games. So hopefully they'll do the same thing. What's next? RetroBlox is a platform for limited possibilities, bound only by imagination. We're heading to leading crowdfunding sites in 2017, but until then, why not join us, or why not join in on a conversation on our forums? So people have a ton of questions on their forums. I'm not going to go through that right now. You guys, I'm sure you guys are all very smart, so I'm sure you can read. But anyway, just looking at this, the idea sounds interesting in the sense that it does add some new features that for some reason, I don't know why they were overlooked on the Retron 5 and even the Retro Freak, which is the online features. I would like to play a classic console that allows both local play, as well as online play. But as long as somebody else, of course, has the same console. But I do have some worries about this. First, as I already stated, the PlayStation and Sony thing. That could be legal trouble. That could be legal problems for them right there. And then, of course, the fact that there's already an easy way to have the PS1 upscaled. I'm not so sure if this is going to upscale and improve the graphics much, if at all, for compatibility purposes. But it's just an option that you have. But in terms of the other consoles, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But here's my issues with this. It's modular. No console, at least from when I started gaming way back in the days, in the 8-bit era, but no console that's been modular has ever succeeded. So let's look at the examples. TurboGrafx with TurboGrafx CD, with the Turbo Booster, failed. Sega Genesis by itself was okay. Once you start adding the Sega CD and the 32X, it failed. It never works out right. It's not a good. It's not a good thing. You're splitting your base up. I'm trying to think of other examples, but they're not coming to me right now, and I'm sure there's more. But modular things just never work. Usually, what people just want to play with is whatever comes in the box. Very rarely do you get people, or do you have accessories that succeed very well. The Kinect, I guess, is the most popular example that I can think of. With the original 360, when motion controls were a thing for a minute, but generally people don't want to deal with modular consoles, and developers usually don't want to deal with it either, because you're splitting up your market. Once you split up your market, it's less potential to make your money back on whatever you're doing or make profit. So that's a problem right there. Another issue I have again was we went over Sony. Went over the modularity. Another one is a new company starting an online store. That in itself is a gamble, because when you think about it, why would developers want to take a risk jumping into an online store? And especially it depends on what deal they're gonna give them. If they try to give them a standard 30% like iTunes or Google Play or even Microsoft take, I doubt they're even gonna bother jumping in and on board on this. Another thing is, if it fails, what happens to your games or whatever you bought, whatever you purchased? That's a risk right there. Is there a backup? Is there a way to keep your games should their console fail? What guarantee do you have that you'll be able to play those games a year after the release of this thing? It's just something to think about. Another thing is, of course, the cost. Right now they're just saying it's going to be cheaper than a Nintendo Switch, so it's under $300. That's still a mighty big investment on something relatively new and unproven, especially when it's modular and it has an online store that it's also unproven. So it's a lot of things to think about. You've seen past consoles from Kickstarter, like the Ouya failed spectacularly. Of course, the one that came out last year, the wannabe Jaguar shelled. I already forgot the name of it. Oh my God, the Coleco Chameleon. The Coleco Chameleon failed spectacularly before it even got off the ground. That was crazy. So this one, it seems like the guys who are developing it may be a little more, I guess, knowledgeable of their market, of their target market, but still. It's something to definitely just be wary about. It's an interesting concept, and it should be one that you approach very, very carefully. Don't just give up your money to the Kickstarter. Let these guys prove themselves first, and let's hope for the best. But It's a tall order, to be honest with you, at least in my opinion. We shall see. I'm excited for it, but I'm gonna be very cautious and wary. So if you guys have enjoyed this, don't forget to share, subscribe, and I'll be back later with another video. Alright guys, take care.